All right, so I want to move away from all this tool talks I've been doing in the past few videos, and I want to talk more about bringing solutions because, frankly, I don't want to make my channel around tools and I don't want to adapt this personality. But essentially, I've experienced the thinking of bringing solution rather than just being a straight on software engineer that just builds, just follows what the story point is. And I've come across two situations that made me think that. And what are those two realizations? So, mid this year, I was thinking about indie hacking and I started creating a solution for a problem that I thought of. And I was deeply invested in that problem. But you see, the key here is that I'm thinking about a problem and I'm thinking about creating a solution for it. And I believe I did create a solution for it. But did it solve the problem which I was going to be invested in? No. And so that led me to not launch it. I mean, I'm still thinking about making it open source or something, or maybe even launch it, but honestly, I'm just not heavily invested in it. But the other one, and I think this one was more important, and I think that first experience has led me to the second one, is my new job. So recently I've moved into a new role and I'm a solo developer there. And being a solo developer in a non-tech company, and so there's a couple of advantages and disadvantages to that. But let me start off with the disadvantages. One of the disadvantages I have is I don't have a team. And look, that could be also an advantage, especially since I've got years of experience. But if I was a very junior developer, it's actually a very big disadvantage because whilst you can navigate, it's still at the early stages of your career, and having a direction is really helpful, especially from a senior developer. But I've already got experience as a senior developer, so it wasn't really much of a disadvantage. The other disadvantage is you will be reliant, and if there is no other tech person, especially when the company is not a tech company, you are literally being dependent. So from the indie hacking days, it started to make me realize I need to create solutions so that whatever I do is accessible to them in a more friendly manner. And so I started putting out these ideas and talked to the manager that I work with, and they've been very open with it. They've been very happy with it. And I'll share some processes, I think. It's very, very simple. You don't have to do really much. It's just 3 guidelines that I think of. And one of them is identifying the problem, proposing a solution, and implementing it. One thing you do need to keep in mind is you don't want to rush everything and say, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do that. You're going to stretch yourself out. Take it one at a time, one scope at a time, and you should be all smooth. I'll talk about the advantages because this becomes an advantage for me. So that disadvantage becomes an advantage because now you're going to be able to create a solution out of that problem. And let's say we're in a situation where I can't attend work for, let's say, a couple of weeks, and they've got to use a technological solution that requires me to be present. Now, you might think they should hire more. Look, yes, you need developers, but also they should be able to do some stuff that is very user-friendly. They don't have to code. They don't have to gain all this technological knowledge and experience that I've gained. Just make solutions that makes their lives easier. And there's multiple use cases that you'll come across when it comes to these non-tech companies, because you start to look at the process and you can say, yep, that can be automated. And they'll come up to you to ask for solutions and you can propose one. And with these 3 stages that I've listed here, you can pretty much get a good trust from the company, and you can be able to basically build up solutions that would help them, and it makes both of our lives easier. So the first one is identifying the problem. But yeah, so with identifying the problem, you want to make sure that you see what the problem is and list down all the points in terms of why it's such of a pain. So examples of this could be manual processes, so anything that's done by hand and there's no technological solutions around it. You could say, yeah, you can automate it because essentially a lot of things can be automated. Accessibility, not just in terms of UX and UI perspective, but in terms of access. So let's just say that they got to do a 3-step process and requires 3 different softwares. You can simplify that process as best as possible. You might not get 100%, but you can get close to it, and it will make their lives easier and it will make it less error prone. So that's the thing about the first point as well, because some of these manual processes, human error is so prevalent. You can get into human error very easily. The other thing is costs, because of course business want to raise their costs down. So if you provide a cost-effective solution, and they're already paying you, but if you're able to provide a cost-effective solution and make their lives easier, it's a massive win. So proposing a solution, you want to make sure that you have thorough discussions. Talk about what you're thinking about, talk about what you want to implement and what options are there. Let them know about the costs, show them the services that you're going to use. Be open about it. Don't close yourself and say, okay, I'm just going to do this and see you later. No. You need to show them every step of the way. And with every step, you gain confidence from them and they'll be happy with you. Plus, you want to sound like you know what you're talking about, because if you don't know what you're talking about, they will lose confidence in you, and then there will be just skepticism unless you prove something. So you want to make sure you don't talk too much, but you want to also make sure you don't talk too less. Another thing is prototyping. So if you saw in my previous 2 or 3 videos, I've proposed a solution and I basically prototype and showed them. No functionality, no backend, just simple front end, showing them how it will work, and then ask them, is this good? Is this not good? Yeah, like you want to get constant feedback. And as you get constant feedback, you get a clear picture of what they want, and you're able to create an implementation about it. Because the last thing you want to do is create this massive software and then they say, no, I don't like that functionality and that's useless. You don't want to do that. Which leads to my third point about implementation. So making a prototype a reality, I think once you get that confidence, you want to make it a reality. Then you start to think about plugging things in. MVPs, because you want to make sure that you get a solution out there as fast as possible so that you can get some feedback. With testing, of course, no offense. And like I said, ask for feedback constantly, because once you get a solution out there, you want them to test it as much as possible so that you're confident your solution is working at the best of its ability and the stakeholders are happy with it. And these are just few points, and I'm sure there's other ways around it. But this is a massive shift in terms of my thinking in software engineering, because in my previous 3 jobs, yes, there was thinking about a solution on creating things, but you start to become more creative and you start to think about the business perspective and how you can improve the business process. And I think that probably builds me up in terms of creating an indie hacking product. I don't know. I can't say that. But whatever I done earlier in the year, along with my experience in software engineering for the past 5 years, has been pretty beneficial to me. And I'm glad I'm able to think like this, because this helps businesses so much. And we need to start to think in a way of helping businesses, not just, okay, I'm going to do this, give me the cash and I'm off. Now, you want to be involved with the business. You want to make sure that you're implementing solutions for the business. You don't want to make it purely transactional. You want to invest yourself in it. And that's what I learned about indie hacking as well, is that if you're not truly invested in the product, I don't feel like I can't say this because I haven't released it, but I feel like it's not worth investing your time out and being stuck with it and then you regret it later on. You want to be passionate about the solutions. And the solutions I've created for the people I'm working with right now has been absolutely amazing. And honestly, it makes software engineering much, much more fun, because now you're solving a puzzle and there are real life situations that you're solving. Anyways, let me know what you guys think. Let me know what your experiences are, because I think this is a great way to think when it comes to software engineering and not thinking it as a job. So let me know if you like this. Feel free to subscribe, and I'll see you all later.